Good morning and welcome to SimWorld Today here on a Wednesday edition after a massive night in SEC hoops. So we are bringing in Sniper J to break down all of it from what exactly is going on at the top of the SEC, a very competitive conclusion to this season. Sniper, good morning. How are you this fine morning?
Man, top of the morning to you. I'm happy to be here. I'm a little sleepy, but I'm ready to be here.
Well, sleepy is essentially the feeling that might be coming out of places like Arkansas or Kentucky this morning as Kentucky gets stunned by Auburn last night, 60 to 59, a big game for the Auburn Tigers. And then, of course, Arkansas gets beat up at home, 52 points in the second half to Alabama. They lose 88 to 75. So let's start with Kentucky and Auburn. What are your takeaways from a night in which the Kentucky offense really struggled? 0 of 7 from Stephon Burks, 0 of 3 from Jinsong Dang, 39% shooting in a 1 point loss on the road that really hampers their chances of an FCC title game appearance.
Marsh, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not surprising. We've seen this Kentucky team struggle on offense or in general throughout the season, right? And for them to go on the road against a non-ranked Auburn team, a game everybody and their mama thought they was gonna win and lose. It's shocking, but is it really shocking? I mean, Kentucky's always been wishy-washy, right? And like I said before, a couple weeks ago, I never picked Kentucky to be an SEC championship game anyway. I had Arkansas. So them going on the road lose to Auburn, surprising, but not surprising. And I'm shout out to Auburn, right? They sitting here at 7-4. They potentially can clinch a SEC title spot, Marsh. You know?
They can get close to it. I mean, we'll talk about Auburn. Like I said, this is all SEC, and we'll talk about your Arkansas Razorbacks, who we said got beat there,
Hmm.
52 second half points allowed. But just to state of Kentucky, this was the most disheartening loss that they've had all season, and I think the underlying piece here is just the reliance this team has, and I don't think they're alone in it, but the reliance they have in their supporting cast. Okay, because Glory Tate, great game, 18, 7, and 10. I thought he looked fantastic. He did a great job getting into the paint, did a great job finding open men. Most of the time, that was Jamison Johnson, who was 16, 6, and the struggle was his 8 turnovers. And then Adonis Knight, 12 points in 21 minutes. He's continued to be this guy that's been very low usage. Meanwhile, the rest of your starting pieces, D'Angelo Muto, 4 of 7, kind of just non aggressive. And then to the point I was making, the supporting cast, one combined made field goal from everybody from Trey Truss, Trav Cunningham, Kadarius Sylvia, Jinson Dang, and Stephon Burks. No support evident from this Kentucky squad, and that's ultimately what dooms them. If you make literally Sniper one more bucket from any of those guys, this isn't a Kentucky win, and they didn't get that. I'm not going to raise the panic alarm for the team that I picked to win a national championship. Although I'm not going to sit here and say I'm super stoked that I already went on the record and picked a national champion because they did not look like one last night or tonight. No, last night. They did not look like one at all. They looked awful, and they need to find a way to get this group more aggressive. And I think they need to find a way to get Adonis Knight much bigger role than they had last night.
I couldn't agree more. Honestly, Kentucky's they're disappointing, right? And I look at it like this: Auburn, they go to Auburn and lose, right? Okay, it's a away game. It's the SEC, tough. But what about a neutral site game? It's basically the same thing. Well, like, where's your supporting cast gonna be at that neutral game
Mm-hmm.
in the in Hoopsteria against a better, more well-versed team than Auburn, or a better record team than Auburn, a team that is supposed to be there, that's been playing well, or a Cinderella team that's shooting the ball extremely well. What is Kentucky's going to do? Where are they going to find that scoring? And that's the problem I see with Kentucky.
So speaking of better teams, what we thought was the better team was both Alabama and Arkansas. Arkansas did not look the part last night. Dwayne Epps 21 and 9, 19. Finally, an efficient night from DJ Childs. He looked like last season's version of DJ Childs, 19 and 5. All of that propels a massive second half. Alabama shoots 55%. They did not have a problem getting any of their supporting cast going. Um, from up and down the roster, every single person scored at least 1 point as Alabama gets the win against an Arkansas squad, Sniper, that you were pretty high on, and this team just did not show up in the second half.
They really let me down, Marsh. They did. They did. I had them beating Alabama in this game, and I have to go on record and apologize to the Crimson Tide. Apparently they got my message and they sent one right back to me, and it was loud and clear, and that's why they're 8-2 in conference and sitting at the top of the throne, holding it down for the SEC. But if you're Arkansas, I wouldn't get too down about this because they have another chance to go ahead and still do as I told them to do and clinch their way into that SEC title game. But tonight was disappointing. Alabama came to play and they looked fantastic, Marsh. I mean, absolutely fantastic.
They did, and they exposed the flaw of Arkansas, and that's been their defense. And I I'm struggling to come up with pretty much every other team in the top five, top 10 even. I can kind of figure out, right? Kentucky, they rely on their two
Mm.
stars, right? Villanova, they've got a great centerpiece in Justin Bell. Arthur Lattimore leads Texas. Kansas suddenly has a two-headed monster. Louisville, they've got Pooh Lewis, who's been a great offensive piece. Cooper Flag, Travion Novick. And then I get to Kentucky, or excuse me, to Alabama. And I am at a complete loss because this team does not appear to be the type of world beating, just unstoppable force. Yet every single night they come out and they play like that. Dwayne Epps, I think, is by myself and others is criminally underrated as a center or as a senior. 14 and 6. Quincy Henderson has been an explosive forward for them. They both came up and played really great nights last night in the win. Quincy Henderson, 8 boards, 15 points. Epps, we said 21 and 9 and 3. Alabama is not doing it with the traditional, well, we've got a lottery pick and we rely on them. They go the route of, we've got guys that are just dogs. We got guys that are ballers. We got guys that come out, play with a chip on their shoulder, and they want to beat you up. They want to quote Detroit Lions head coach, they want to bite some kneecaps. They want to just get in the dirt with you. And that's how they're winning these games. And that showed up last night where in the second half, Alabama just was the tougher team. This wasn't a talent level thing. This was a toughness. And Alabama gritted their teeth and just played like the tougher team last night.
Some would say it's the Nate Oates effect, right?
Mm.
The Nate Oates came from a mid-major program, tough as nails, and he brought that same toughness to this Alabama team. And one thing people don't know about Nate Oates is, yes, he can coach. Yes, he's a good X and O coach, but he coaches ego. He doesn't have to coach effort, energy, or none of that. So, with that being said, when you talk about how tough they are, how hard they play, how they win games in the dirt, Nate Oates doesn't have to coach that, right? And that's the reason why they don't need the 5 stars and the 4 stars. They're
Mhm.
gonna come out every night and they know they're gonna play extremely hard and play physical, and they're capable of scoring the ball at a high clip, and that's why Alabama is sitting on top of the SEC.
All right, so speaking of sitting on top of the SEC, this is our current standings here on April 9th. Alabama 8 and 2. They have essentially wrapped this up. The only reason they haven't is they have 4 games left with a 2-game lead over Kentucky in a season series that they split. But this is all but wrapped up. Alabama doesn't get the clinched, but they've pretty much clinched. Behind them, Kentucky is 7 and 4, Arkansas is 7 and 4, Auburn is 7 and 4. Do you take Auburn, whose schedule to finish off the season is at Alabama versus Mississippi State, who, remind you, number 11, and then at Arkansas, who right now is number 10 in the country? Can Auburn make the SEC championship game? Do you trust them if they get there?
Uh, Marsh, they're not gonna make the SEC title game. Their schedule is too tough, right? Even if they win 2 out of 3, like they're gonna be tired by that third game. But theoretically speaking, right? Let's play the odds. Auburn sweeps. They go 3-0. They make it to the title game. It's no way in humanly possible they're going to beat Bama. There's no way. They just can't. It's not. It doesn't make sense. Like, are they just gonna sweep everybody that's above them from here on out, including a tough Mississippi State team that is looking for another signature win that could be Auburn coming up? I don't think so. It's mind blowing to even think that way, Marsh.
Auburn, I think the easiest thing is I don't have to worry about trusting them in the SEC championship game because they're not going to make the SEC championship game. Like you said, this is the remaining schedule. We said it for Auburn already. Three teams currently ranked in the top 11. By the end of the week, it's going to be, let's just say, three in the top 15, regardless of where Arkansas ends up. Okay, Arkansas schedule to close out the season: Ole Miss, Tennessee, and then, of course, Auburn. They're not losing more than two games in that stretch. Arkansas is going at least 2-1 in that stretch. I would pick them to beat Auburn. So I mean so if you're looking at where does the loss come, I think there's a real chance Arkansas goes undefeated. Okay, where does Kentucky then potentially lose? Tennessee, LSU, or Florida? No. Kentucky's coming off two straight losses to
Mm-mm.
Alabama and Auburn. They're not losing. I'm not. They could, but they shouldn't. And if they don't win out, I think that's a huge indictment on what this team has been for the entirety of the season. Oh, by the way, they've lost two games in a row two other times. Each of them they followed up with four-game winning streaks, including 16-point win, 16-point win, 22-point win in their last couple three games after their first two-game losing streak, and then 9-12, and then a 73-44 shellacking of Georgia in the three games after their last two-game losing streak. Kentucky's going to come out firing. And so there's no way that Kentucky is going 2-1 the rest of the way, in my opinion, which means Auburn has to play perfect. And they're just not going to play perfect against Alabama, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. They can beat those teams, but to say they're going to beat three top 15 teams in three straight games for a team that's currently sitting right now 14-13 on the season. Yes, they've been hot with four straight wins. These four straight wins saved their season to make Hoopsteria. It did not save their season to make the SEC championship game and win it, in my opinion, Sniper.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. But Marsh, while I have you here and we finish up here, if Kentucky wins out, does that automatically give them the spot into the SEC title game?
If they win out, hold on, let me get
Because
this up
they,
real
because
quick.
they do have
So
the easiest schedule, if we're
they
being
have
quite
the
honest.
they have the easiest schedule remaining, and we're giving credit to Auburn here for making because Arkansas' schedule, if you look at it, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Auburn is really not that challenging, right? I mean, Ole Miss is 9-18, Tennessee is 12-15, Auburn's 14-13. Just the fact that Auburn's won four games has made this thing interesting. So just
Yeah.
barely does Kentucky have the better schedule, but Kentucky also has the head-to-head win over Arkansas. So if Arkansas were to go 2-1, and if Kentucky were to go 2-1, it's this the head still goes to Kentucky. They have both not only the head to
Mm.
head tiebreaker, but they also have the secondary one, which is overall record, which wouldn't matter. So Arkansas really needs some help to make it in. They can do some of it with beating Auburn, but they need Kentucky to slip up. So it's in my opinion, it's really Kentucky, and it's not my opinion. Mathematically, it's Kentucky's SEC championship game appearance to lose. Auburn has the head to head right now over Kentucky, but again, we talked about that gauntlet that they have left.
Okay. Well, I'm still rolling with the Razorbacks. I think Kentucky's going to drop one of these games. They're going to come up slipping again one more time, Marsh.
They'll need Kentucky to lose again. The track record has shown they haven't, but track record did not show last night's loss to Auburn either. And here we are. All right, that is our show. I appreciate Sniper you coming in. Love talking the insight. I mean, it was a deep dive tonight on the SEC just because so much happened last night in the SEC. So this morning we couldn't go anywhere else except there. So appreciate you taking the time. We're coming back tomorrow morning. We got Rick Blaze coming in. We'll talk a little bit of the craziness that is the SWBA, including I was at the Luka ejection game tonight in Oklahoma City. Lakers Thunder live and in person, and the Lakers are good, but man, they can't stop a soul inside. So we'll talk some of that with Rick on Thursday. But Sniper, appreciate you joining. Thank you all for tuning in here on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.